DAKICKBACK. Another episode of The Kickback with Sabrina, Cherika, and EB. Sit back, relax, and vibe.
Hi, friends, and welcome to The Kickback. You know, it's me, Cherika, one of the hosts of this podcast. We have our girl, Sabrina, and you know, if you're hearing my voice or Sabrina's voice at the top of the hour, you already know what it is. Our boy EB is not here with us. He's, out there gallivanting and living his best life. No, actually, he's working, but he's away, so he's not with us today, but we're here nonetheless, and we're happy to be here. How's it going, Sabrina?
It's going. I'm here.
Oh, it is good. You just sounded
Not
so
the
nice
aw.
and sweet. You're like,
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't think I've heard my voice as being described as sweet in a really long time. So I appreciate it, friend.
Aw, you're most welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So let me tell y'all what's the things that are going on. So I'm happy because it is almost the weekend. And for you guys listening, it is the weekend. Happy for a break from work, even though, look, I've only worked 3 days this week. Listen, it was a long week, but my temp is, what is my temp? My temp is 78. Last week I had family in town. I still have some family lingering around, so that is always a good time. The past 2 days, it has just been Alan and I, but family's coming back in town tomorrow, so that's also been nice to have a little break, but then they'll be back and that'll be good too. What else is going on? Y'all, I'm in this class. Y'all know I'm trying to get my certification. Y'all supposed to be praying, so hopefully the prayers are coming through. I realized the other day, I have not really been challenged in a long time. I don't know the last time I really have been challenged. There have been things that, I've done or I do that I may be nervous about or a little anxious about, but I haven't done anything that I'm like, I really don't know how this is going to end. Most of the things that I do are within my comfort zone, within my wheelhouse, within my strengths that I feel like, you know what, I'm nervous or I'm anxious or I'm, unsure, but I'm like, I know in the end it's going to be all right. It'll be okay. This is one thing that I'm on the verge or on the edge of like, ooh, is I'm going to make it or not? But it's also kind of exciting too, because I feel like if I can do this, y'all, I feel like I would you're not going to be able to tell me anything. Like if I really become an overcomer in this situation, I will be so proud of myself. Like, I don't think I was telling my therapist, y'all know I'm in the therapies. I was telling my therapist, I think she said, what's something you're proud of? And I don't think I have anything that I've been proud of, like an accomplishment that I've done. Like, I can't think of any accomplishments that I have done. Like, yes, I have my degree, just my bachelor's, but it wasn't a struggle. It was like, it was just like you do the things. Like, this is really a challenge for me. And I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited about it because I feel like if I can do this, will feel really good about myself. But if I can't do this, y'all, well, I don't know what happens if I can't do this. I don't know what will happen. But I am, I'm optimistic just by nature, but I'm really optimistic about this class and about taking my certification test and all the things. So that's really my temp. I don't have a song right now, but that's where I'm at.
I am so excited for you, friend. And there are so many things that you can be proud of in life, but it's one of these conversations that you really have to be committed to having with yourself and believing it yourself. So I'm glad that this is something that you're like, you know what? For me, this is the thing. This is that ladder that if I climb it, no one will tell me anything at the top of this mountain. And I love that for you.
Just got to make it up that mountain. I just got to make it.
You can make it. And I'm excited for you. You can do hard things well. Let's get it.
Oh yeah. I love, that's my favorite thing you say, I love it every time. I'd be forgetting it in the interims, but then you bring it up and I'll be like, you know what, you're right.
Yes, we have to remember that because life is just hard, period. And if we give up at every hard thing, there's no way you can make it. Life will just kick your butt from A to Z. So true. Here I am, and my song is BB King's "The Thrill Is Gone." Y'all know I was so excited for this vacation, and it was great. We saw Kev on stage Friday, and Cherika had gotten some tickets with a table with like 5 other of our friends, and I got in my tickets like maybe a week or two before. And the way this comedy place works is you can't buy like a single ticket. You have to buy them in groups. And I knew my husband wanted to come. I didn't know how many of our other friends. So I was like, okay, we're good to just get our 2. And then our groups of friends will meet us there. So Doug and I didn't get to sit with our group of friends. We were in the front with 2 strangers, one of whom was coughing and hacking. And every time he did, Doug and I think we talked about this before on the podcast, when you're married or when you've been dating for a really long time, probably more so if you've been married, like there's a secret language between you and your spouse. I don't know if Cherika, this is true for you and Alan, but Doug and I can have a whole and know exactly what the other person is saying and thinking with our eyes, with a touch on the knee. You know, it's just a whole language without words. So every time that man coughed, we both were giving each other like, oh, Lordy, here we go. Why is he here? It's the COVID for him. But the guy, you know, he was friendly, and Cherika and I, we got to meet Joshy Gons, and that was awesome. And we got to hang out with Tahir again, and it was such a good show. It was so great. It was so fun and funny. We did dinner beforehand, so I was living my best life. Friday, Saturday, same deal. Sunday, got to go to one of my friends' churches, and I've gone to her church to see like shows before because her church has a really good like off-Broadway program where they do amazing like quality, not like B-rate. Oh, you can tell it's Christian theater. Like, no, it's actually really good. So getting to be there on a Sunday was lovely. Got to meet one of my work colleagues. She found out I was going to be in her neck of the woods, and she was like, girl, let's meet in person. I haven't met anybody in person yet. And I'm actually kind of socially awkward and shy when I don't know people, but it turned out to be a vibe. We all bought our spouses. So my friend AJ, who's been on the pod before, we've been friends for over 20 years. He was actually coming into town because we were taking this Disney Universal vacation together. But he met up with our colleague because he works in the same company under a different business unit. We had the best time, the 3 of us and our spouses. There wasn't an awkward moment. I was just like, this is so good. Monday at Disney, Doug, halfway through, he's giving a little low energy, just like not his regular self. And I'm like, Doug, like, what is wrong with you? He's like, I'm not feeling well. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I admittedly, and I don't like this quality in myself. When people are like, I don't feel well, I'm like, you're not dead, you're fine. I don't want to be that person that blames their parent for everything. But growing up, if we were sick, my mom was just like, you're fine. If the school nurse called and they were like, oh, Sabrina threw up today, she'd be like, if she threw up, she must be feeling better. Hang up. Like, there was just it was just like not this coddling. And as a kid, I really didn't like that. I wasn't being coddled. And I was like, what is this? And now as an adult, this is the same energy that I'm giving that I didn't like as a kid. So I was just like, oh my gosh, Doug, you know, my friends are down. You know, you can't be acting like this. Because towards the second half of the day, he was like, I'm going to cancel my Universal ticket. I don't think I can go tomorrow. I'm not feeling it. Then he ate some chicken, and then he was feeling better. And I was like, I know this man wasn't just hungry and doing all this. But y'all, that night, it was not great. He was coughing. He just was not feeling good. And then Tuesday, Cherika, remember how I was walking after the wedding? It was that all over again. Like, Doug and I aren't really theme park people, but we are people who just celebrate and will be with friends and kind of will go with the flow, you know? So for us, maybe it was poor planning, but 2 theme parks in a row, like that is a lot of walking, even with the best sneakers. So on Tuesday, then I wasn't feeling well. Universal, I was like, you're all right. Thank God they had the shows, because I was like, trust me, I just need to sit. My feet were so tired. It was to the point where, like, when a body part hurts that you're just usually not aware of. I'm just usually not aware of my feet. But even sitting down, my little feet were throbbing. By the time because it's Mardi Gras at Universal, the little parade came by. My friend even said, he was like, listen, the floats aren't that different. Let's just go ahead and leave. And I was like, you're right. So then that night I had the craziest headache, so bad I could not even sleep. It lasted from like 8 p.m. until the next day at like 11 a.m. And so Wednesday, I'm like, babe, I hate to be the one, but maybe we should take this COVID test, these little at-home COVID tests. And y'all, after 3 years, after being all over the West Coast, Jamaica, New York for a wedding, all over Florida, Key West, COVID finally got us. COVID got us good. And it is not great. Like, Doug probably had bad fevers when we were in Orlando, but I didn't have my thermometer. But by the time I got home, like, neither one of us had fevers, but I remember those first nights, his coughing was so intense. It was so very bad. I just felt bad for him. And then I got it, like the coughing. My symptoms were never as bad as Doug's, but when I tell you the coughing was so painful, I can't describe it. And I can't believe, like, we both did teledoc appointments, and my doctor was like, thank goodness this is just like, by this point, it's a watered down strand. I'm like, this is watered down. I can't imagine what people went through. If this is a watered down version, it's just really not great. But my doctor was great. He was like, listen, zinc, vitamin C, and vitamin D. I already take vitamin D, so I picked up zinc, vitamin C. He prescribed me the Paxlovid, which only works if you take it within the first 5 days. He gave me like 3 different cough medicines and everything. And I'm already feeling like pretty Gucci. My husband's teledoctor was like, you don't need the Paxlovid because that has some side effects that can be sketch. We'll just give you some cough medicine, tough it out. I was like, dang. So I at least gave my husband the vitamins that my doctor suggested. But that's where I'm at, y'all. So the song is, the thrill is gone. The thrill is gone away. The thrill is gone, baby. The thrill is gone away. I was so happy for my vacation. And we still had so much fun. But, like, for example, I know Doug would have done a lot more rides, tried a lot more food had he been feeling 100%. And same for me. And because we aren't theme park people, we're not going to be rushing to go to Disney or Universal again. So yeah, that's where we're at. And then to make matters worse, I got my positive COVID result. I think, was it earlier in the week? So one of those nights, but then I got my period the next day. So it was just like, really, I have to be dealing with this coughing and the cramps. Like, what? And
not the double whammy.
The double whammy. And I will admit, my cramping's really not that bad since I've been drinking water and doing the things and taking the vitamins and all that kind of stuff. But it's just the principle of the thing. I want one thing at a time. I want one thing at a time. That's crazy. So that's my tip. That's where I'm at, friend.
So did Doug end up going on to Universal?
Oh, no, he still went.
Oh, he did go?
Yeah, because he called to see if he could, like, change his ticket. And with them, you can't cancel and get a refund, but you can change it for a different day. And then I was thinking, well, okay, do whatever you have to do, babe, but I don't know that I'm going to cancel mine because my friend is down here just, to spend some time with us. And I honestly was not being a good spouse in that moment. It wasn't until like later that day I was like, oh my gosh, I had such a selfish response. I'm so sorry. And he's always so understanding and forgiving, which makes me feel even worse. I'm like a bigger jerk because I'm like, girl, you need to calm down. If that had been the other way around, I know he just would have been like, do whatever you have to do. Now, I did tell him that he should go home. And I was like, you should maybe not come. Like, I wasn't completely cold hearted, but, once he had decided to be there, I was just like, hey, you already here now. You got to thug it out, friend. And it's sad, and life shouldn't have to be this way. But it wasn't until I got the call that I was like, oh no, like it's really bad. Like we're really sick. So yeah. And I am absolutely convinced we got it from the comedy club, because no one else we were with during our time has any symptoms, and everyone else is fine and Gucci. And we were the only two at the table with the cougher. It would be different if like, cause we saw a lot of different friend groups throughout our vacation, but it was just that one person and everybody else is fine. So I'm like, I wish I could find that man's information and be like, how dare you? I know Kev on stage is amazing, but I guess that's who I'm dedicating my FU to, because it's one thing if you're coughing, but he wasn't even always covering his mouth. He was laughing, mouth wide open, head back. And granted, to hear one of the comedians did like clown him a little bit because of his hat. And that kind of stuff can be really funny if you're not Cherika to get clowned on. But yeah, I'm like, you're just sharing your particles. And if you guys knew the layout of this comedy club, you would know that like it's really tight seating. So it's not like we're at like this booth, like a restaurant. It's like you're kind of on top of the people that you're sitting with. And Doug was sitting closer to them. And I wasn't with them that long because, like I said, I got up with Cherika. I went outside to talk for a little bit. But when I was doing all that, Doug was being kind and, you know, chatting it up with them. And I'm like, oh no, it backfired, Doug. So that's where we're at. I can tell he's getting a lot better. So that's good. The scariest thing was like the chills. I didn't know that this is a thing, but like, it was like he was doing the Harlem Shake in his sleep. And I was like, what is happening? But I Googled it, and it's a normal side effect of COVID, and it can just happen. I guess it's your body's way to like help regulate the temperature of your body when you're sick. But it was scary. You don't want to see your loved one being sick like that with the night sweats and the body shakes. And I was just like, oh my gosh, no, God, we're too young, you know, like, kill my man. So here we are. And y'all, this is a watered down version, according to my doctor. So we can't get another booster for 3 months. You have to wait 3 months after you get COVID. So we're supposed to take a trip to St. Louis. And all I know is it will be before the 3 months. So that kind of sucks, but it's going to be the mask for me. Now I was on a plane. Oh, was it? When did I fly? Oh, to North Carolina for my sorority sister's mom's funeral. And I did wear a mask then, because the plane, it just feels kind of like icky. And I'm like, I should have been wearing mask on a plane. But now I'm thinking, no. It's mask everywhere for me. Because you just don't know. And it's still out here. Golly.
I know. And you don't know how you're going to respond or how it's going to hit you. And I'm mad at that man too, because like, how dare you know you were sick, sir. And why are you not covering your mouth, and why you didn't have a mask on? You know, nevertheless, why did you leave your house? I know you bought the ticket, sir, but you got to go see him somewhere else at another time when you're not carrying and spreading the COVID.
I'm wondering if maybe he didn't know he had it, and that was the only. Because some people think, because it does impact people so differently. Yeah. Like I shared, like for Doug, his symptoms are a lot more intense than for me. Like I was still doing stuff. Now, granted, I was super tired, but that's because I was averaging like 20,000 steps a day, which my little feet, these boots are not made for walking. It's just too much. You know, I was doing my little daily post. I didn't even have the energy the last day to do my post because I was so tired. But I wonder if maybe he didn't know. But even so, if you're coughing and hacking, cover your mouth, cough into your elbow. It's just common decency that I feel like I learned before kindergarten. Because I remember as a kid, like if people would do that, we'd be like, ew. So-and-so didn't cover their mouth, you know? So that is, you know, that's childish behavior to not be doing that. That being said, everything went well outside of when we got so sick, but it was a good little time.
And this is the funny thing about social media and all the things, girl, because I was looking at your post. I'm like, look at my friend over there just having the best time, eating the Dole Whip, which I love a good Dole Whip, your little treats and all
Hmm.
your little posts. I'm like, look at her having the greatest time. And behind the scenes, my friend had COVID.
I know. Well, I didn't, those first posts, I didn't know and I didn't have any symptoms. So I was
Mm.
having the greatest
Oh,
time.
good. At least
I
you had
think,
some good time.
yeah, I think the red flag would have been, well, what happened to day 5? What happened to the rush? You just went silent on us. And it was because I literally, it was, oh, Tuesday was our last day. So Monday midday was when Doug started feeling poorly.
Hmm.
And then, like I said, he ate some food and then he said he felt better. So I was like, oh, he was just hungry. But honestly, I think maybe he just tried to thug it out because I kind of
Hmm.
was like, babe, like, how can you be acting this way? We're on vacation. And he's like literally dying. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But then Tuesday for sure. Tuesday is when y'all didn't hear from me and y'all ain't going to hear from me for a while because I need to be fully recovered. I really, really do. I don't even think I took, oh, that was the other thing because I wasn't feeling that great. Granted, I didn't know I had COVID. On Tuesday, I just didn't take that many pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. But after 5 days, evidently, we're not contagious. So my doctor's pretty confident about that. And after 10 days, I stopped taking the medicine. So he's like, you're fine. You're talking, you're smiling. So yeah. For me, it
Okay.
just feels like I worked out and my muscles are sore. The
Mm,
coughing hurts terribly, but I'm not even coughing as much. And just general malaise, like feeling super tired.
mm.
Hmm.
Well, I'm glad you're on the mend. I'm glad you're on the mend.
Thank you, friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Welcome. So what are we talking about today? So I told Sabrina I wanted to talk about this topic that I wanted to talk about. And now when I'm here, I'm like, do I really want to talk about it?
That's totally up to you, friend. There's no pressure. There's so many things we can talk about. I'm almost committed to give a Selena Gomez update every episode, but I'm like, this is not the podcast for that, but
Why
whatever
not,
we want
girl?
to do.
Why not? The people might need to update, like me, who don't follow the story, but you like to hear other people's recaps, so you feel like you know what's going on with pop culture, but you're like, I'm not invested enough to find out for myself. But if somebody got the juicy details, I will definitely indulge.
Well, I just saw a post on Facebook that said Selena posts that Hailey reached out to her and said she's receiving death threats. And Selena is like, please be kind. I never wanted this. But I'm like, once again, Selena,
Mm,
I just see past it and I feel it's so calculated. You just keep inserting yourself into your ex's marriage to the point where his wife has to call you. That does that make you feel better and powerful? You are not an idiot. You know what your responses to things will garner from your fans. And this is not a surprise to you. I feel like
mm.
she creates the problems and then she comes back to be like, oh, I'm going to fix it. It's like, no, you weren't a saint. The saintly thing to do would have been to do what Hailey has done, which is come to you behind the scenes, woman to woman. And I'm sure Hailey wasn't like, yeah, make a post saying I reached out to you. How
I
about
was
just
just
stop
gonna say,
adding? Right.
why
How
did she
about
even need
just,
to say all of that?
right.
Oh, Haley reached out
Just,
to me. Why didn't you just say, you know what? I've been hearing that people are making death threats and this is not okay.
right. How about stop adding her? Stop adding
Mm,
any of it. Like if you go into the history of it, Selena on several times, she's the one who'll go to old fan accounts from her and Justin's relationship. When Justin was briefly with Sophia Richie, she was the one commenting on those posts. Like, it's Selena. But 99% of the people are like, Sabrina, you're crazy. Team Selena. I
right.
can't say that I don't I can't say that I dislike Selena or Hailey or like them. They, like I said, I haven't purchased any of their products or their music, but I do like lots of Selena's songs. But when I look at this situation, I'm just calling it like it is as a person from the outsider and what my life experience and viewpoints lead me to believe. which is that, Selena, you're the problem in this situation. And it's creepy and it's annoying. Stop it. Stop your madness. But two friends over the weekend, because one friend was like, I guess she told her sister, she was like, Sabrina's team Hailey. I'm not team Hailey. I'm team common sense. And then the sister talked to me for like 15 minutes and was like, why? And then they're like, well, you should watch Selena's documentary because she has mental health issues. And I'm like, even more so.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, okay, you're proving my point. It's clear because I was just saying these aren't things that a healthy person would do. So y'all know she has mental health issues and y'all are still like, it's okay. Mental health issues are not an excuse for poor behavior. We had this conversation about Kanye. So just stop it. If she was the average girl next door treating you this way, take Hailey out of it. Everything about Hailey and even the little Kardashian sister, all that is speculation. The stuff about Selena, you can go pull up the screenshots right now. I see Hailey being mature and going to woman direct behind the scenes. I see Selena adding people online. Yeah. It's giving Selena's the problem. So that's my little update. And you're right, Cherika,
I don't get it because I don't get how you could be Team Selena in this situation. Because why? How? Well, explain. Tell me what the people are seeing because I'm not seeing it.
If you're a person who gets wrapped up in whatever social media tells you is reality, then I could see it. Because there are a lot of social media blogs and videos that are pushing this narrative that Hailey and the Kardashians bully Selena. And they're like, well, look, Selena talked about her eyebrows, then these people talked about it. But I'm thinking Sabrina talked about it and people try to bring me into Selena. I have a whole life outside of Selena, so I'm sure these girls do too. They're just saying, and then there's like this jealousy that comes with being a Kardashian sister or like a Nepo baby. So people are I think they're projecting that and being like, yes, now we have a legit reason to dislike these girls. And it's because they bully Selena. Well, there's no proof of that at all. It's all speculation. It's all grasping for straws. What we do have proof of.
Like they're acting like Selena is some poor little, nobody and this woman is obviously a celebrity making great money and doing all the things too. She is to me in the same boat as all of them.
I'm with you on that. And what the other thing she has is a consistent timeline of going after whoever Justin's dating next. I don't care what excuses. Right.
She's like a Lifetime movie, one of those movies where the woman, they trying to get the man and they try to get rid of the wife to get the man. Girl.
Right. For example, when he was with Sophia, he made a post like to his fans like, hey, you guys got to stop saying mean things about Sophia or else I'm not going to make you make any more posts. And then her comment was like, you should be nicer to your fans. If you don't want people to say anything about your girlfriend, you shouldn't post her. It was something like that. And it was like, why are you over here creeping? Like, girl, just, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's giving desperate. It's giving get your own life. It's giving girl, get a grip. It's giving let it go.
Even without that, the Bella Hadid post was enough for me. The fact that we share an ex and you're just making this post about how pretty Bella is, or, I just feel like if anyone did that to me, and all we had in common was that like we shared an ex, I would feel creeped out and I would be like, ooh, block. Like this person, like, they're not my vibe. So that's my little update. And the reason I said, I don't know if that's for this podcast, because that's the generation after us, or maybe even after. And I agree with you. It's not information that I seek out, but I was on Facebook and I did see that headline and I X'd it out like the first 2 times. And I haven't read the full article because I'm like, I don't want them to think this is the content that I need. But I just was like, okay, after the third time, I was like, okay, I see it. And also the Selena stuff makes me mad because I want more people to realize that she's a problem and they won't do it. Because now people are just like celebrating her, being like, oh, that was so good. She's like making sure these people aren't bullied. But I'm like, no, she's the reason she was bullied. She kept at it. Like, what don't you guys get? Like, so there's,
like
there is that.
only reason. It sounds like this is why she, like trying to get, her name talked about, like trying to be relevant. Girls, you did
But
the
she
music.
doesn't have to. She is one of the most famous
But that's
people
what I'm
in the
saying.
world.
Like, girl, you do other things. Like, focus on the positive things that you do, like your music. I don't know if, she's still acting. She in that TV show with Martin Short and
Oh yeah, that's good. I
Steve
watched
Martin
that.
or Steve Martin. Yeah, girl, you're doing big things. Like, girl, keep your focus on the things that are great. Like, why are you worried about an ex? Go get you a new one.
Well, you know what they say, there's nothing like a woman scorned. And I will say, I don't feel like I've been truly scorned by, a partner in life. And I don't know what that reaction would be. Have I been done wrong? Sure, of course. But to the point, I think I've had and thank God for this, my foundation in Christ has been so strong for most of my life. It really would take, one hell of a man to make me like go off the deep end because of his own actions. Like, I can acknowledge the action. I can acknowledge how they impacted me, but I would simply just move on. I'd be like, oh, well, that really sucked. This person sucks and they're out of my life and I'm moving forward. I'm not saying that Selena doesn't have a firm foundation in Christ. I'm just saying it's very clear that this situation haunts her. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to haunt you now. You will not get peace. Oh, you think you're going to be happy? Now you want to be the man that you should have been with me? Because he was a dog with her, but he was also a child with her.
I was just going to say, one, it was a long time ago. He was a kid. Two, he looked better when you had him, Selena. So I would take that as you're like, oh, I had him as better looking days, and just be grateful for the time you had and move on with your.
How dare you, Cherika?
Oh, now. He looked so much better when he was younger. All them tattoos, looking like he been a wet cat in the rain.
Cherika, don't do that. He looks like what he's been through.
Well, you're right. I don't know what all he's been through, but he does look like he's been through something. So,
I don't know what all he's been through. I was just saying, like, oh, I don't want to make my little clowning Selena. Well, it's not even clowning. I don't want to make my accountability conversation about Selena suddenly about how Justin is not as cute as he used to be. I'm like, why does Justin have to get attacked? But okay, when they were dating,
I'm giving him an attack. I'm just telling her the things that she should look back on and be like, you know what? Maybe I had him.
But that doesn't matter. Even if she had him when he was cutest, like, I think there's a part of a person that can feel like, what is it in me that couldn't get this person to be the man I wanted them to be? And how come they can be the man for this other person? But it's simply just time and maturity. You didn't have, I don't know how old he is.
Just you had that person for them and they're not the person for you. Like,
that's true too. But like, yeah, he was in love with you, but he was also 17. And he cheated on her a lot. And he even made comments about how he had emotionally abusive tendencies in his relationships, which I laugh when he talks about relationships as a teenager. Cause I'm always like, teenagers don't really, their brains aren't even fully developed. Most of them don't have jobs. Now they had jobs. Exactly. And their reactions are childish reactions because they shouldn't be doing all the things because they're not mature enough and they don't have the skills or the tools to deal with it, right? So now you have Selena who's stuck in this loop because she had this great love of her life and it was sucky and it was a roller coaster and it was all those things. But gosh, I wish I had the research to back me, but I've heard that this is backed by research. Like, just when you get like a pattern in your brain and it's just like a safe place to go back to. So she's going to go back to that place. And I'm sure she has great therapists and all that can help her because your brain can change. You can change those patterns. It takes work. It takes time. So she keeps going back and playing that loop. And now he's being like a little stand-up husband and all that. But it's like, girl. Anyway.
I remember one time I was a woman scorned.
You
And
were?
yes,
Oh
I
my
was a teenager.
gosh.
I wasn't a woman. I was a child. And I remember chasing my quote unquote boyfriend around at camp because he was messing around with some other girl. Girl, that was a time. Let me tell you, that was one moment I was glad I did not. I was really ready to fight him and I was ready to fight her. It was a thing for real. Like I literally was at her cabin door banging, trying to get in there because I was going to beat her tail. But anyway, that was a teenager. I was a kid. What did I know? Whatever. Like years later, I went out to hang out with friends and a group of friends, and that guy was there, and this one guy that was with us, he's like, "Remember that time Cherika was chasing you around and da 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 da?" And I was like, "One, you're so petty right now for bringing this up. I'm grown now. We all grown. Well, we all supposed to be grown here. I got a man, not this man, another man, a real man." And not no shade against that guy. I'm not saying he's not a real man. I'm just saying we're grown now. We're not children anymore. And he was just like, we were all just looking like, okay, whatever. And then like afterwards, he like apologized, and I was looking like, really, I could care. When I tell you the cares that I could give, they are zero. They are negative zero. At this point, it was like a childish move. But so that's what I want for Selena. I want her to be like, yeah, when I was young, I was young. But you know what? I'm grown now. Let's go. Let me go find a grown man to move on with my life, or no man, or just be grown and happy with my own life. Not looking back at what used to be, trolling his wife, trolling about his old relationships and writing on our old pages. Girl, well, I'm not gonna say it's in the past. It should be in the past, but she won't let it go.
But the other thing is we ended up with the love of our lives, right? Imagine, and it's so hard to, I almost hesitate to say it, but I'm just going to go for it. Imagine a situation where you didn't end up with Alan, and Alan almost even proposed to you. He gave you a promise ring. He's whispered in your ear sweet nothings. Y'all had known each other in the biblical way. He's like, you're my forever, you're my sweetheart. And then he breaks up with you. 2 months later, he's engaged to one of his exes that was like in one of y'all's down period. And now he's run off into the sunset with her and you are not with him. Do you feel like in that scenario, you really could just be like, oh, well, bye.
Okay.
You might feel like.
Okay. So here we go. It's okay. I would not feel this way. At that point, I can understand the feelings. They're just 2 months is a very short time frame, but now it's been 3 years and 2 months or more. I don't know how long they were engaged for, but I'm just saying, even if I did feel the ways, and I might feel the ways, I might still have the feelings. I'm not gonna let you know. You're not gonna know that you got me like this. I'm not gonna put myself out there to be looking like Boo Boo the Fool. Like, even if the feelings are there, like the pride is gonna be like, oh, is he happy? Must be nice. But it would not be like, I'm not gonna be out here sweating like this. I just wouldn't. I don't think I could. You're not gonna have me like this. So I can understand. I can understand. And I will say, I don't know if I've ever said this out loud, and I probably shouldn't say it out loud, but I'm gonna say it out loud because we hear and it is what it is. But I remember me and Alan, y'all know we broke up here and there, and I knew that I would always love him. I knew, that is something I do now. I knew I would always love him, and I always thought, I hope I don't. Like, I hope we do get together, because if I ever got with somebody else, like, it's gonna be a problem if Alan ever was around. Like, they should be worried, because I'm I'm dead serious. I was like, because anytime it's over. I mean, anytime he was like, hey, I'd be like, oh, sorry, sir. Whatever we had, I don't care about them kids. Keep them. No, no, I'm not saying, I mean, that was a joke, but I mean, for real, I did have the thought, like, if I would be in trouble if I really married someone else, because I don't think I will ever get over him. But he never did me like Justin did to Selena. And we're not going to get into all that, but I'm just like we never had like that kind of trauma in our relationship. So he was always a good person, a good guy. Like we had a good like it was nothing crazy. So, but like, I don't know if somebody was doing me as terrible as he did Selena, I would be like, girl, you're better off. Like, you already know what happened when you were with him. Do you really want to repeat?
I think the answer to that is yes, if he's mature and changed, and for them, it was true love.
But it
So I say
wasn't
all that to
because how
say
is
it's
that's the
not
thing,
that,
like Selena, if you can't think it was true love because if it was true love, he would be with you and not with Hailey.
no, no.
Why not?
Because just because someone is immature doesn't mean they don't love you. I
No,
think what they had,
I'm not saying he
and
didn't
he
love her at
even has
all.
said, like, I'll always have love for Selena, but I'm with Hailey. I married her and I love her. And that's
Yes.
just that. So I say
Yes.
all that to say I sympathize with her feelings, her actions. I just want her to own them. And I want everyone else to acknowledge that she is the problem.
Right.
Our friend Tracy is infamous for being like, I don't know if infamous is the right word. Maybe I shouldn't use that one, but Tracy is often saying like intent doesn't matter. So like the
I
intent.
disagree with that.
She's like, when it comes to
Okay.
certain actions, she's just like I'll be like, oh, okay, let's talk about the Will Smith slap. Some will say, well, I understand it because he was so mad, da, 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 da. And Tracy would say, why he did it doesn't matter. The action he did was wrong. I don't want to hear about the intent behind it. So with Selena, it's like, I can sympathize with how hurtful this could really be. I can sympathize with the fact that I can't even imagine the things he told you and promised you behind closed doors. That really sucks. And also,
But I don't think he meant them at the time. I'm sure, I would assume he meant those at the time, but the times have now changed.
You guys just
life.
be saying whatever. I don't think they mean it, especially when they're that young.
I told people that, I might have said whatever, you might think that that's what you feel, or that, and it might be accurate at the time to the best of your knowledge and ability, but later on you grow and you realize, oh, this is really what love is, or this is, how I really should be acting. This is like you grow and you mature, like you know what you know at the age and stage you are, but then you grow and mature.
For sure.
I'm not saying he didn't love her. I'm saying it wasn't a lasting love or a lasting romantic love because he married someone else. It might have been he might have truly loved you at that moment, but not enough. He didn't love you enough. Or I'm not gonna say he didn't love you enough because I don't want to say, well, there was something she could have did. It wasn't that. It wasn't obviously he didn't love enough. I'll just say this: he didn't love her enough to marry him, or him, her. He didn't love her enough to marry her, and he didn't marry her. He married someone else, and that to me should tell me that obviously he didn't really love me in the way that I wanted to be loved by him. So let me go find someone who will love me, and go look towards the future that I could have with somebody else. I don't know. I'm just like I said, yeah, if it's Alan, I would feel a certain type of way. But obviously, I was in that scenario. I was still ready to go love someone else. I mean, I love them more than him.
No, you wouldn't love them more than him.
Well, I don't know. I never met anybody. So, because obviously maybe there was nobody else to love more. So
but you already made up in your mind. It didn't matter who you're going to meet. Alan was still number one, and the temptation would be too strong. You already made that up in your mind. So maybe can we at least both admit that we sympathize?
I do sympathize.
That feeling of you have lost what on your end was the love of your life. And
I will sympathize with her on that. And that does suck.
Do.
But but I feel like, girl, life is for the living, and like there is so much more out there. Obviously, you're still alive, so you still have the chance to do and experience love again. And if that's really what you want, you have the opportunity to experience love again and enjoy the life you have. And so it seems sad, like to me, that you're continuing to look back because there's so much to look forward to.
Hmm. But
And
we'll see how
that's
it
why I
all
feel bad
shakes
for.
out.
But I don't like. Speaking of, but one thing I did want to say is like, but Selena, you also know, like these people out in this world are not wrapped too tight, and we don't know the things that people are going through and going through their minds. So you've seen time and time again how when somebody's after, different public figures, not even, well, let's not even say public figures, like, whatever, somebody's a hot topic or whatever, there's always people that are be taking things too far. And you don't want to be the catalyst for someone to, not saying that you made them make a bad decision, but you're putting this negativity out that would draw people to do negative things to other people. I mean, like, that's a scary thing because you just don't know when you say things and put things out what other people are going to do with them. It is their own responsibility, but girl, I was thinking about that new show Swarm, and whew, I didn't watch it, but I've seen like enough clips and hear people talking about it. Because y'all know I don't do the scary, but people, there are these crazies out there. There are
Yeah,
crazy.
I've heard of this show, but only because of, I guess, Chloe Bailey's in it and Lori Harvey's
Oh,
ex is
Lori's
in
in it.
it. No, 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 her
Oh,
ex is in it. And I don't know anything about this
they
swarm
broke up
outside of
already.
that.
Wait,
I
Lori and
think
him broke up
so.
already? I thought they was
That's
still
what,
together.
girl, I
Girl.
only see things as I'm scrolling Facebook, and it's literally like nuggets of information. So forgive me if it's not like
Oh, you're fine. But yeah,
accurate. Girl, if
it's
they broke
supposed
up
to
already,
be,
that could be good.
it's almost supposed to be like, so it's called Swarm, and everyone's saying it basically, well, it's not everyone. They basically said it's almost like, so it's about a celebrity, like a song singer, and they're basing it off of Beyonce and how crazy and avid her fans are. So in the
Oh.
show, this these this celebrity has these avid fans, and literally the girl hears like buzzing, like buzzing noises. But anyway, she kills people, literally kills people in honor or on behalf of like her idolization of this celebrity.
Um, Wild. Yeah, I don't think I can watch that either, but the
Yeah,
concept, I'm glad they're putting it out there to show people, hey, this is how you look. You're crazy. Calm down.
pretty much. Pretty
Oh
much.
my
I was thinking, but
gosh.
girl, I was thinking this the other thing. I'm like, I hope this don't give people even more ideas. Like, yes, this is
Oh
how
no.
devoted I want to be. I don't know how it ends. I don't know if she gets, jail time. I don't know what happens to her. I don't know if she dies herself. Don't know the ending. I don't know. I just read like the little synopsis, like some of the synopsis, and I was like, "Oof, yeah, I
Well,
can't be a
this is
party to
another
this."
reason it's really good to have a firm foundation in Christ and just know who
Girl,
you are and know your place in this world because that is not it, girl, at all.
at at all, at all. So, Selena, I recommend you get uh
Not a we recommend.
this is a Selena recommend. I'm not recommending this to everybody, but hey, if this pertains to you, if you find yourself stuck on an old situation, whether it's a man, whatever, a job, a life, whatever is in the rear view mirror of your life, you can't move forward if you're looking back. Take your eyes off the rear view mirror and look forward because you might be passing by something that may be just what you were looking for or just what you need. So, Selena, this is my advice to you. Take your eyes off of what them old posts. Take your eyes off of what Hailey's and Justin is doing over there. And just, you know what? Look forward to what you can do in your future and in your life. Sabrina,
I
do you
love
have a little
that.
listen, because you know what? Life is too short. Life is for the living, worth living. And it's like, let it go. Let it
I
go.
love that. My thoughts are if you do have a great love, a true love, it is something that you may have for the rest of your life. Just like in the scenario where Alan and Cherika didn't end up together. She would love him for the rest of her life. And that's okay. You can't really help who you love, but you can help how you decide that impacts the rest of your life and your actions. So I'd say a journal is a nice little vibe, because you don't want to just suppress those feelings and pretend like they're not there, but you don't want it to run your life. So have an outlet. If you have your spouse, then be honest with them and be like, ooh, this little ghost from my past is coming up. Let's kill it together. Or what is this? What am I really missing? Because I agree with Cherika. He didn't treat her well. So there's aspects of the relationship that maybe she's hyper focused on. And then it's like, well, what are you really missing? Are you feeling like you're never going to get that great love again, or whatever the case may be? And that's when the therapist can come in and like help you. And then just the moving forward and focusing on what you do have good in your life, because I guarantee you, if she was able to really do that, then you're right. Those old posts, whatever, all that stuff that she gets tied up in, it would not even be a thing, because she just wouldn't have time for it. She wouldn't have the energy for it.
It wouldn't even, it would be like, who? What? Oh, that
I
guy.
know,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right.
Oh, hope he's living his best life, because I sure am living mine.
I know, that's right. I know I had one little person that I loved before I met my husband, and I never dated him or anything like that. But when I tell you I couldn't get rid of him fast enough. That's enough. The first chance I could, I went to college in a different state, because I was like, I don't want to be near this person. I just want them out, because I just knew, despite the feeling of love, like it wasn't going to be a good thing for me. It wasn't going to be a good thing for us. We could love each other, but we could never be together. It just was not going to be a thing. And I knew I couldn't have that person popping in and out of my life like that, trying to disrupt the peace. So Selena, take it from somebody who I haven't been there in the same sense, because we never dated. We were just childhood good friends. But girl, it feels so good when you just let it go. Let it go, release yourself, and you'll just find something better. I got me a Doug. And one thing Doug would never do, be married and in somebody else's DMs, which can't say the same for that person. So, you know, if they'll do it to one person, they'll do it to another. I'm not, this is no shade to Justin. I don't know what he's doing. I pray he is being faithful and happy with Hailey. But if you let it go, there's only rewards on the other side.
Amen to that. Sabrina, do you have a little Bible story? What's going on?
I do have a scripture that made me giggle. It's from Numbers 27, verses 12 through 14, the Message. Now, y'all know Moses was God's chosen one, you know, from the time he was in the little basket on the river. God had his back, helped him to get Pharaoh to let the people go, was there in the staff. Moses was dealing with the worrisome people in the wilderness and all that. But Moses made an error one day, and God was like, what I'm not going to do is forget it. So let's just start on verse 12. God said to Moses, climb up into the Abraham mountains and look over the land that I am giving to the people of Israel. When you've had a good look, you'll be joining your ancestors in the grave. Yes, you along with Aaron, your brother. This goes back to the day when the congregation quarreled in the wilderness of Zin, and you didn't honor me in holy reverence before them in the matter of the waters of Meribah quarreling at Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. I cracked up at this, because not him being like, go ahead and look at the promised land and then you're going to be dead. Because remember that day you didn't do what I asked you to do, and I told you that you weren't going to see the promised land? Yeah, I didn't forget it. I'm like, come on, God. Moses has been with you through thick and thin. He did this one little thing and he can't see it. And God's like, no, I already told you. And honestly, I high key feel that. That is my energy. I think Doug and I had a deep discussion about this the other week or so. We were talking about accountability. And he's like, Sabrina, your accountability, it can feel cruel. And I'm like, no, because if I have told somebody something, I think we were talking hypothetical situation about future kids. And I was just like, you know, if we told our kid, Bobby Joe, if you go out there and you lay down with the peoples and you come with a grandbaby, that's fine and dandy, but you're going to have to provide, you're going to have to do X, Y, and Z. And Doug is like, well, sure, we tell them that. And if they do, and if they go and do it anyway, people make mistakes, Sabrina. Like, we can't just make them struggle. And I'm like, I didn't make them struggle. I warned them. I'm being kind. So we were on opposite ends of it. And here I feel like, you know what? God is giving my energy. He's like, I love you. We're in it together. But if you do this thing, there will be consequences for your actions that I will not forget about, that you will face. Love you, mean it. So that little verse just made me laugh.
Dang. I see these things in the Bible, like those moments like that, when God is God, and God be like, I said what I said. And I'd be like, oh, but Lord, you couldn't have, like, sometimes I be wanting God to be a little, I'm not saying God is not gracious. We know the Lord is gracious, but sometimes I'd be like, Lord, come on now. It just hit the wrong, you know what I mean? Like, Lord, wasn't that big of a deal? But obviously to him it was. And he was like,
it really was.
And oh girl, sometimes I'd be like, oh Lord, yeah, Lord, don't turn me into that pillar of salt because I looked back. Like
I know.
I'm like, that lady looked back and he was like, pillar of salt. Oh my
But was
God.
she not warned?
She
That's my
was
question.
warned. But
And
like
that's the
he could have
part.
made her mute or something. What happens? Like where do you go when you turn into a pillar of salt? Like what happens?
Well, I think I saw a good episode of, like, I don't know, some historical show that was saying, like, we take it literally, like she literally turned her eyes back and then just fell into salt. And it depends on people's interpretation of the Bible. But if you go to like a fire or where a volcano is erupting, like your body can literally
Turn to ash.
I need to look it up. Right. So they were saying it was more like one of those things. She went back, like literally took her whole body back to where everything was going down. And so she burned. It wasn't like she just turned her eyes. But I don't know. People will start getting really sensitive, being like, it's literal. She did just turn her eyes. And it's like, okay. I'm just like, I go back to, is this a salvation issue or not? Those are the things I will debate with you about. But the pillar of salt thing, I think the lesson there is just like, listen the first time. Listen the first time. Cherika, is there anything you want to expound on? It's crazy we spent this episode talking about Selena, but.
So, this is going to be Cherika Expresses.
Love it.
So what I wanted to talk about, guys, we'll have more time to delve into this deeper another day in time. But what I was teasing you guys with before, I was telling Sabrina, like, oh, I want to talk about this on the podcast, but I don't know what I want to say. But what I will say is, so I want to talk to you guys about, and maybe we can have somebody on who like really maybe, professionally deals with this. We'll see. But anyways, I want to talk to you guys about my fertility journey. You might be like, girl, I mean, do we need to know all of that? And I want to say, why not? Not because, we're not getting all of the business, but I'm just saying, like, this is a part of life and it's a journey. And that's why I like the fertility journey, because it's like a journey. There's hills, there's valleys, there's all the things. So I'm going to share a little bit about that with you guys. So I'm going to express some of my feelings and just some of like things that I've been going through. So for you guys know, I've been married almost 7 years, and probably maybe the past 4 years, I feel weird. Like I feel weird because I feel like I'm talking like anyways, I feel like I'm talking weird. But anyway, it's just my nerves. But anyway, so I've been married for 7 years, but for the past 4 years, we've been trying to conceive. No, before you get excited, don't. It's just not an announcement. It ain't that. Just hold on to yourselves. It's not that, but it has been a journey. And I was like, it's been a hard journey. Like the first couple of years, I'm like, okay, no, it ain't happening. All right, let me go to the doctor, all the things. Y'all, I have had surgeries, I've had procedures, I have been on medication. It's been a thing. It's been a journey. And like, I think I recommended this on this podcast maybe 2 episodes ago. But I was telling you all about that Love Always Adrian episodes that I watched about her fertility journey, and I just saw like her struggle and her heartache through it. And I felt like, oh my gosh, like I'm not alone. Like other people are going through these situations, and it could be about whatever for you. It could be anything. You know, we all have struggles and little and hard situations that don't feel little in our lives, that feel like they consume us, and they can be a huge, huge thing. And people may walk by you, people may see you every day and be like, oh, this person has it all together. They think they have it, you know, such a great situation, great life. And those things may be true, but you may be carrying deep pains or great hurts or brokenness, regardless of what the situation or circumstance is. So I want to express to you that you are not alone, whatever that is. You know, there is someone else. There are people who have walked that journey or are walking through that journey, and you can seek resources. You know, this is one of the interesting things about the internet. Like people share their stories. So I'm sure if you type in your situation or circumstances, somebody's expressing it. It's on a podcast. It's on a this. It's on a that. Go get yourself some therapy, get yourself into the word, get yourself accountability partners, people that will pray you through these circumstances and situations. But know that you aren't alone with whatever you're going through, whatever your hurt is, whatever your brokenness is, whatever your loss is, you're not alone. And the Lord has always promised to be with you. And sometimes, you know, it may not feel that way, but you know, we have to focus on the fact and the truth, and have the faith that the Lord is the Lord and he will see you through whatever you're going through. Does that mean your circumstance will change? I can't guarantee you that. Does it mean that tomorrow you'll wake up and feel different than you feel today? That is not likely. It could be a journey and take time, take years, or, you know, by miracle, the Lord could do a thing. You know, he's God, but his word talks about just how he comforts the brokenhearted and how he binds up their wounds and just how he loves us and how he cares for us. So I want to express my love and care for you all, and the fact that recognizing that we are all hurt, we all have hurts, but we're not alone in it. And we have a Lord and Heavenly Father that promises never to leave us nor forsake us. So that is my Cherika Expresses for you all today.
Cherika, that was a beautiful Cherika Expresses. Is that what we called this?
Sure, I made it up today, so
edition.
That's what it was. Sure.
I absolutely loved it. It's such a good reminder, first of all, like of God's love for us, and that you really don't know what people are going through, and it's not good to assume. So as Cherika shared, if you're experiencing something similar or something different that's hard, just know you're not alone. And when you're ready for your moment of expression, like you have friends, you have family that's ready to come alongside you so that you know that you don't have to suffer or deal with the challenges that life presents on your own. Because one thing I can tell you for sure is baby making is not as easy as they try to make it sound like in high school. They made it sound like if you sneeze in the direction of the opposite person, you getting pregnant. You know, it was just very much that kind of a vibe. You could get pregnant any day of the week and and it's just not reality. So just know you're not alone.
Thanks, Fran. You're right. I remember, you know, like as a kid and young person, they sure did make you feel like, don't even look at them because girl, you'll be pregnant. And that is definitely not the case.
Not at all.
At all. Well, you know, we'll talk more about this later and similar topics about health and just life. But you know, we've been before you guys for a while today, so you know, we'll end with our recommend. Sabrina, do you have a recommend for the people?
I do. I just want to recommend that they take those vitamins that my doctor recommended. I've already been taking vitamin D3 because D3 is an active form of vitamin D. That is the form that your body actually makes when you're in contact with the sun and things. So I've already been taking that. But adding zinc and vitamin C, you know, it's not a bad idea. I already feel 10 times better. Maybe don't sound like it, but it's true. According to Cherika, I sound sweet. So thank you, friend. So yeah, that's my recommend. Get on it with the vitamins. Mm-mm-mm.
Good recommend. I have a recommend for you guys too. And listen, take this with how best you can manage and do your life, but find a challenge. Find something that challenges you that you can celebrate on the other side. I started with telling you guys how this class and preparing for this test is a big challenge, but the excitement of knowing that I can be a conqueror, it gives you a sense of, I don't even know what the word, I don't want to say pride, but it gives you a sense of strength that sometimes I don't think we recognize in ourselves or realize that we can harness or that we possess. That's the word. We have a strength in us that we don't always possess it, realize that we possess. And sometimes we have to find out in a bad situation. But when you intentionally go to challenge yourself in something, whatever that is, whether it's you have a goal to run a marathon, or you have a goal to do this or do that, whatever it is, like I didn't know I needed this challenge in my life. But it gives you a sense of purpose, and it gives you a sense of like vigor, like you feel alive because you're like, I'm not just coasting, I'm working, I'm like putting my energy towards this great outcome. And so I recommend, if you have the bandwidth in your life, to find something to challenge yourself with,
I love that.
Sabrina, friend, do you want to close us out?
I got to put myself in EB's vibe, EB's energy. And he says something like, remember, if life tries to knock you down, make sure to kick back.
Love it.